with the Utah Jazz to trade for Donovan Mitchell. They signed Brunson and RJ Barrett. That makes sense to me as a backcourt. Brunson and Donovan Mitchell does not make sense to me as a backcourt. They didn't draft anybody in the first round. Why? Because they got draft assets so they could bring in a star. This isn't the star. This isn't it. You've got Scott Perry's number in your phone. You've got Worldwide Wes's number in your phone. I need you. I'm begging you to use your phone to make sure this does not happen, because I think this is a bad idea for the Knicks.
One of the coldest nicknames I ever created was Worldwide Wes. So cold. Shout out to Knicks brass. I got a chance to run into Scott Perry and Coach Tibbs recently. And as we have these kind of conversations, and I was just at the Summer League sitting front row with my good friend Tom Gores, who owns the Pistons, you remind me that I appreciate the opportunity to do this show because we never have to say sources, because I am the source. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait a minute, I am the source. You know what I'm saying? Shout to Dave Mays and my guy Benzino. With that being said, let me just tell you this. I might have Donovan Mitchell's number in my phone too. And Brunson may be named after me. So I know a little bit about this topic. Now let's come a little closer. If you're a Knicks fan, you need this to happen.
No, disagree. Hard pass.
You need this to happen, David.
Disagree.
Here's why. You're gonna get a star in New York City legitimately that wants to be there in Donovan Mitchell. See, the one thing that has to happen in New York City is you need to have that anchor player that you know is gonna be a perennial all-star. He's gonna be that for you. He's gonna be that 25, 30-point scorer consistently for your team. Think about Coach Tibbs and what he wants to focus on. Since his focus is defense, two miniature guards in the backcourt. They're both 6'2", 6'3".
He said miniature.
Well,
he
because
said Dartitos.
Well, Donovan Mitchell plays like he's 6'5" or 6'6",
but he ain't.
But he's really like 6'2", and so is Jalen Brunson, right? So Tibbs is gonna have a focus on defense. But you know what he likes for his guards to do? Be ball dominant. See Derrick Rose. He's gonna put the ball in these guys' hands and they're gonna take you home. Now here's the other thing. Are we keeping Julius Randle in this process?
Unfortunately.
What's wrong? What's wrong? Why you don't like Brunson, Mitchell, and Julius Randle? I'm telling you, Jacoby, and I got a sleeper for you. Look deeper into that bench.
Look at Hartenstein's my guy. Big year for Hartenstein this year.
I can't stand you.
I love Hartenstein. He
Shout
was
to
balling last year.
Emmanuel Jalen quickly. That's my guy. Cam Reddish. I think he's an underserved asset that is going to do more for the New York Knickerbockers. I ain't mad. Now, what are you giving up is what I ask.
RJ and some picks.
Okay,
RJ and some picks. And that's the problem right there. That's the problem right there. Because again, Jalen, you're listed at 6'9", you're probably like 6'8", right? What are you doing as a point guard if you're being guarded by Jalen Brunson or Donovan Mitchell?
I'm taking him to the post.
Thank you.
Jalen Brunson, but here's the thing. Brunson plays a lot larger than he is. He and Gary Payton II are like the biggest 6'2" guards in the league. And what I mean by that is you saw how he's posting up Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs?
Yeah, I did.
They're gonna have a backcourt, Jacoby, that's gonna be ball dominant, and it's gonna be able to now have a go-to player in Donovan Mitchell that can be explosive in the playoffs to complement Julius Randle. Julius Randle was just the Knicks' best.
Do you say explosive in what now? Explosive in what? In the playoffs? This team's not making the playoffs. Look at the odds for the East right now. And you stop me when I name a team that's going to have a worse record than the Knicks. Okay?
Okay.
Bucks, Celtics,
Worse.
Heat,
Worse.
Sixers,
Worse.
Raptors, Hawks,
Worse.
Bulls, They ain't in the playoffs, dog. They're not in the playoffs. They got plus 4,000 to win the East. Like you bet $100, they give you $4,100 back. And you add Donovan Mitchell to this team, it does not change that. So they've amassed all of this draft capital to bring in a superstar, but this superstar, who I like Donovan Mitchell a lot. This is not about Donovan Mitchell as a basketball player. It's about his fit with this team. It's about his fit with this team.
I know what you're saying.
It don't work. It does not work. Get Scott Perry on the phone. Get Scott Perry on the phone, though. Give me Scott Perry's number. I'll call Scott Perry right now.
I'll call him on the show. You know the Knicks and the Nets won the same amount of playoff games last year, right?
Yes,
you
I do
know that, right?
Yes, I do.
And you know it's a sad time when Spike Lee shows up at the Barclays Center and he got to rock a Brooklyn Dodgers jersey. You know what I mean? Let me tell you something. Fat Joe, Dipset, the Locks, they'll be back in the Garden, Jacoby, when y'all get Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson. I'm telling you.
Don't put that y'all on me. Don't put that y'all on me.
Ball handling is a premium. Ball guard play in today's NBA is at a premium. Trust me, Tibbs is going to let them have the ball. It's going to take pressure off of Julius Randle to be a creator. He can be a lot more of a finisher. He just made the All-Star game 2 years ago. I love R.J. Barrett. I like
R.J. Barrett a lot. I like R.J. Barrett a lot. His game's like your game.
I love R.J. Barrett. But if I was choosing this season one of those two players, I would definitely have to take Donovan Mitchell.
Of course.
And you would too.
Of course. Donovan Mitchell's an all-star. Donovan Mitchell has the 7th highest playoff points per game in the history of the NBA. Donovan Mitchell's a dog. When the lights are the brightest, he shines the brightest. But I do not see him and Brunson as complementary pieces in a backcourt. I see them as redundant pieces in a backcourt. And if we do this show tomorrow and we're talking about a trade that already happened, I might even cry. But Jalen,
if I cry, you cry, we cry together.
Jalen, you've got such a great mind for rosters and the NBA, and I really think that you should be a GM, but you're not yet. But right now, we're going to play GM Jalen. GM Jalen, you are the GM of the Brooklyn Nets. I am playing the role of your former teammate, Rob Pelinka. I am the GM of the Lakers. I'm gonna get on the phone. I'm gonna get on the phone.
Play.
Mr. Rose, how you doing? How you doing this afternoon?
What up, Dow?
Oh, it is you. I can always tell from the greeting. I'm glad you picked up my call. I've noticed that you're having some difficulty there with your personalities, your locker room, and your roster. Seems like you've got a couple unhappy stars over there. KD asked for a trade. Kyrie doesn't seem like he wants to be there. He had a tough season last year. Got swept by the Celtics. You know what? I'm going to do you a favor, Mr. Rose.
Oh, you're going to do me a favor?
I'm going to do you a favor. Okay. I'm going to take your problems off of your hands. I'm going to take, well, you know what? I've got a trade proposal for you. Take a look at this. You trade me, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and you get Anthony Davis, former MVP, future Hall of Famer Russell Westbrook. And you know what? I'm going to throw in a first-round pick. GM Jalen, you can't say no to that. I'm going to do you that favor. You can't say no to that.
See, here's the thing about this conversation. I appreciate you taking the time.
Okay, thank you.
I have the former MVP in Kevin Durant.
We're getting
Anthony
one back,
Davis has never been an MVP.
Future MVP.
So when you call me about Anthony Davis, let's talk about games missed. Did you know that my former MVP, KD, actually missed more games the last 3 seasons than Kyrie Irving? Did you know that? But did you also know that he has 4 years remaining on his contract and he's still one of the top 2 or 3 players in the entire NBA?
I'll take that off your hands. You're welcome.
So if you want to call me about KD, you don't even have the deal to take to get that done. Let's talk about Kyrie. No, you don't even have the assets to get that done. You don't have the assets. You don't.
Hold on.
But I got something we can talk about. If you want to send me Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving can be in conversation. We can work that.
That's not on the table right now. But you know what I'm gonna do, Mr. Rose? You know what? Because our relationship is so good, I'm gonna sweeten the pot. I got another trade proposal for you.
Okay.
Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, 2027 first-round pick, and Austin Reeves. I'm putting Austin Reeves in the trade, dog. I'm putting Austin Reeves. You can't say no to that.
I'm not gonna be able to do it.
No, not even Reeves on the table. Not even Reeves on the table. Look at that athlete right there. No,
KD is
look
off
at him
limits
knocking down
to your
these shots.
Team.
You see that?
You guys just don't have the assets. Now, if you want to send me Superman, literally, like Christopher Reeves, you know what I'm saying? Then we can talk about something. But in all honesty, you don't have the assets to get KD. Like, the only way you can get KD from me is if you trade me LeBron. Like real talk. Now, this Anthony Davis and Kyrie thing, let's talk more about this. They're both top 10, top 12 players.
Not really.
Why do you not believe so?
Well, Mr. Irving has not been that available for the past few years. And Mr. Davis has also had some health issues as well. So I might not put them in the top 10 right now, but top 24, sure. Now, Mr. Rose, are you officially denying the counter offer that involves Austin Reeves? That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like,
I'm taking him off the table.
Yeah,
I'm taking Austin Reeves off the
like
table.
him and LeBron should be untouchables.
I'm gonna talk to Miss Bus. I'm gonna talk to Miss Bus, and I'll get back to you. All right, Mr. Rose. Appreciate you. All right.
Love.
Jalen Rose. We get to talk about Zach Wilson. You have no idea why Zach Wilson is getting MVP buzz. Oh wait, you know exactly why. And we finally get to discuss it on national television. Josh Allen, more people have bet on to be the NFL MVP in July, according to Caesars, than Zach Wilson.
I love
Jalen,
this show so much.
I have to say, when I heard that Zach Wilson maybe kind of sort of possibly slept with his mom's best friend, I believed in him more as a quarterback. I really did. Did you feel the same?
Well, obviously other people did as well. And the petty is at an all-time high here. But I also have to ask this question. If I was really gonna be petty, I would say, how she look?
We haven't seen her. We haven't seen her. Don't worry, I've researched it. I'm a journalist. I've researched this story. I've seen Zach Wilson's ex-girlfriend. I've seen Zach Wilson's ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. I've seen Zach Wilson's mom. I can't find this best friend on the internet anywhere. And I've researched.
I got more. Because this is cultural, because like you and I discussed, usually your mom's best friend is like your auntie when they look like me.
Yeah, when they look like me, that's just your mom's best friend. You know, my auntie is my mom's sister. That's my auntie. For you, like anybody in your mom's phone is your auntie. Anyone in your mom's phone is your auntie. Anybody in your phone is your auntie.
Rest in peace, Jeannie Cassandra Rose. I'll never forget being such a youngster. Me and my brother Kev were just talking about this recently, and I miss my mom so much. How she had a beautiful friend group. Gene Fuller and Al Cine. We used to be sitting back, but they were aunties. You know what I'm saying? They were aunties. And then here's the other thing I have to say in return. They wouldn't get with one of her sons.
No.
You see what I'm
this
saying?
Is all messy. And also, Zach Wilson didn't deny it, but he did post this. He's like, I've been out in Idaho. I had poor cell service. What did I miss? I love this. It's not a denial. It's not a confirmation. But it's funny, though.
How did we find out? We found out because allegedly his ex ended up sleeping with his ex-roommate.
His best friend and roommate, and current wide receiver for the Commanders. I do not care about Commanders-Jets games, but now I do care about Commanders-Jets games.
And we're responsible journalists. We're covering the MVP race. We're covering the MVP race.
Yes, this is just this July content. We're talking about the MVP race in the NFL. And we have a Kawhi Leonard sighting in the wild. Paul George got married in Italy. Congratulations to Mr. George and his now bride. And Kawhi Leonard was photographed at the wedding. There he is with Karl Anthony Towns. And look at the braids on Kawhi. What do you think about Kawhi, the Clippers, this team building? I had the Clippers as like second favorites in the West.
You know, the one thing about Kawhi is he's an unassuming superstar, kind of like Tim Duncan. So it's only right that he played so many years with the Spurs and won championships there. And so a lot of times we show him almost like it's a sighting of Bigfoot. It's because he's not posting on social media. He's not in the comments. He's not always saying something to try to go viral. But you know what he is doing? Balling like crazy when he's healthy. And you see that dunk right there? When everybody started talking about who the best players in the game, y'all make sure Kawhi's in the conversation. I'm gonna get on my Roy Jones Jr. Y'all must have forgot. When Kawhi was healthy, like just recently, now you get Paul George and go with Reggie Jackson and you re-sign Zubac and like they got a squad.
John Wall.
They got a squad. Ty Lue coaching.
Terrence Mann. And let's not
the Wings,
forget
Covington.
And I love this kind of team building right here. This is how you win championships. That's how you win championships.
Championships are won off the floor as well because of that bonding, that building, that ability to sacrifice. And when you're with a group, there's a difference between when somebody makes a mistake and you like my fault versus somebody makes a mistake and it becomes an argument. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what's important about these team bonding activities. And frankly, who closes games? Because sometimes Reggie gonna be out there, sometimes John Wall gonna be out there. And both guys gonna have to be ready for the result, win, lose, or draw when the media asks them after the game.
So I'm very happy to see the Clippers building chemistry. I'm very happy to see the Clippers healthy. I think they're one of the favorites in the West. But this incident does lead to a question. It's time for Soft Move or Boss Move. Jalen, destination weddings. Paul George got married in Italy. A lot of people get married in foreign countries. That cuts down the guest list a little bit, you know? Soft move or boss move, destination wedding.
First off, it's a boss move. I went to Juwan Howard's and his wife Janine's. And let me tell you why I believe it's a boss move. You said it cuts down the guest list. It actually doesn't. It exposes the guest list for those who can pay their own way. Ding, 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 ding.
I see what you're saying.
That's number one. Number two, it creates a more intimate situation. We're here simply because of this. A lot of times if you do it in somebody's hometown, you got random people showing up like, oh, I knew him in high school. Or, oh, it's like that, you ain't invite me to the wedding. It becomes more about the guest versus the attendees and the celebratorals. So I believe a destination wedding is a boss move. What do you think?
I believe it's a boss move as well, but I have different reasoning because a lot of times at a wedding, you get there, you meet people very briefly, and then you leave. It's about a 5-6 hour experience. If you go somewhere, you take a plane somewhere, you get to build new bonds. So by the time you get to the wedding reception, you know, that guy Steve you met yesterday in the hotel lobby is like one of your best friends. So you like really become a cohesive group and unit. That is why I support destination weddings.
Great point.
This is